In the shadowy recesses of rural China, nestled amid the mist-shrouded mountains of Hunan province, lies a place that locals whisper about only in hushed tones. Banjing Village, infamously known as the Chinese Death Village. This enigmatic hamlet, with its crumbling stone houses and overgrown paths, has been claiming lives for generations, drawing in the curious and the foolhardy from around the world, including intrepid Americans seeking thrills beyond the safety of their suburban homes. For those in the USA fascinated by true crime podcasts, unsolved mysteries, and the allure of forbidden travel destinations, Banjing offers a chilling tale that rivals the most gripping episodes of Dateline or Unsolved Mysteries. But beware, what starts as a quest for adventure often ends in tragedy, as this Chinese death village keeps claiming lives, one unsuspecting soul at a time. The story begins not with a bang, but with a faint, eerie wind that carries the scent of decay through the narrow valleys, a wind that seems to beckon visitors with promises of secrets long buried. Picture this. You're an American backpacker, fresh off a flight from New York to Beijing, armed with a GoPro and a thirst for off-the-beaten-path experiences that could go viral on TikTok or YouTube. You've heard the rumors online, forums like Reddit's or /Unsolved Mysteries buzzing with threads about Banjing, the Chinese death village where villagers drop dead without warning, their bodies found twisted in agony, faces frozen in eternal screams. SEO-savvy content creators in the USA have dubbed it China's most haunted spot, optimizing their videos with keywords like Chinese ghost village deaths and real-life horror in Hunan. But as you step off the rickety bus that drops you at the village's edge, the reality hits harder than any clickbait title. The air is thick, almost oppressive, laden with the musty odor of ancient earth and something metallic, like blood. The villagers, those few who remain, eye you warily from behind half-closed doors, their faces etched with lines that tell stories of loss and fear. This is no tourist trap. This is where the Chinese death village truly begins its deadly embrace. The history of Banjing stretches back centuries, rooted in the turbulent eras of imperial China. Legend has it that during the Ming Dynasty, a ruthless warlord named General Li cursed the land after his army was ambushed and slaughtered in these very hills. As his final act, he invoked dark spirits from Taoist folklore, binding them to the soil with blood oaths. Fast forward to the modern day, and the curse seems alive and well. Official records from Chinese authorities are scarce, censored, some say, but leaked documents smuggled out by dissidents and shared on Western platforms reveal a pattern of unexplained deaths dating back to the 1950s. In 1958, during the Great Leap Forward, an entire work brigade vanished overnight, their tools left scattered as if they'd been snatched by invisible hands. American historians specializing in Cold War-era China often cite Banjing as a footnote in Maoist campaigns, but locals know better. The village isn't just a relic of political folly. It's a living entity that feeds on the living. For USA audiences, this echoes the Salem witch trials or the Dyatlov Pass incident, events where nature and the supernatural blur into a terrifying unknown. As our hypothetical American adventurer delves deeper, the first signs of danger emerge subtly. The path into Banjing winds through dense bamboo forests, where the rustling leaves sound like whispers in Mandarin, urging you to turn back. But curiosity, that quintessential American trait fueled by Hollywood blockbusters like The Blair Witch Project, pushes you onward. You encounter Old Man Wei, a stooped figure in his 80s, the village's unofficial historian. Sitting on a weathered stool outside his hut, he chain-smokes unfiltered cigarettes, his eyes clouded with cataracts yet sharp with memory. "Foreigners come, foreigners go," he rasps in broken English, learned from bootleg DVDs of American movies. "But the village, it keeps. It claims." He recounts the tale of a young couple from Shanghai who visited in 2015, seeking a romantic getaway. They were found the next morning at the base of a cliff, bodies mangled as if thrown from great heights, though no one heard a sound. Autopsies, if they were even performed, were hushed up, but whispers spread, poison from the air, or perhaps the ground itself rising up. For SEO purposes, stories like this dominate searches for Chinese Death Village mysteries, pulling in viewers who crave the adrenaline rush of vicarious danger. The village's layout is a labyrinth designed to disorient. Narrow alleys twist between homes built from gray stone, roofs sagging under the weight of time and neglect. Vines creep over walls like skeletal fingers, and in the center stands the ancient temple, dedicated to a forgotten deity whose idol has long since crumbled to dust. It's here that many deaths occur: pilgrims, tourists, even locals drawn in by some inexplicable pull. An American journalist from CNN, back in 2008, sneaked into Banjing under the guise of a birdwatcher. His report never aired. He was discovered in the temple's inner sanctum, heart stopped cold, no signs of struggle. Conspiracy theorists in the USA point to government cover-ups, linking it to broader narratives of Chinese secrecy, much like the UFO sightings at Area 51. But those who survive speak of hallucinations, shadows that move independently, voices calling names in the dead of night. The Chinese Death Village doesn't just kill, it torments, wearing down the mind before striking the body. To understand why Banjing keeps claiming lives, one must explore its environmental curses. Geologists speculate that underground radon gas seeps from fault lines, poisoning the air in undetectable waves. Combined with the region's heavy metals in the soil, leftover from illegal mining operations in the 1980s, the village becomes a toxic cauldron. But science alone doesn't explain the selectivity. Why do some visitors walk away unscathed while others perish? A group of American environmental activists visited in 2019, armed with detectors and petitions against pollution. 2 of them succumbed to sudden respiratory failure, their lungs blackened as if burned from within. Survivors described a fog that rolled in from nowhere, carrying the acrid smell of sulfur. For USA readers scouring the web for deadly places in China, this blends eco-horror with supernatural dread, optimizing for long-tail keywords like radon poisoning in Chinese villages and environmental disasters Hunan. Personal accounts add layers to the legend. Take Sarah Thompson, a 28-year-old teacher from Chicago who backpacked through Asia in 2022. Her blog, Wanderlust Warnings, detailed her ill-fated detour to Banjing. "I felt watched from the moment I arrived," she wrote in a post that garnered thousands of shares before her disappearance. Sarah described meeting a young girl named May, who warned her about the hungry ghosts that roamed after dusk. Ignoring the advice, Sarah ventured to the old graveyard on the outskirts, where tombstones lean like drunken sentinels. That night, her tent was found shredded, her body nowhere in sight. Chinese authorities ruled it an animal attack, but footprints suggested otherwise, human-sized, yet distorted. USA true crime enthusiasts dissected her story on podcasts, drawing parallels to the missing 411 cases in national parks, fueling searches for American missing in Chinese Death Village. The economic toll on Banjing is profound, yet it persists as a macabre draw. Once a thriving farming community, the village now relies on meager subsidies and the occasional thrill seeker. Local entrepreneurs sell cur souvenirs, bits of stone, or dried herbs purportedly warding off evil, for exorbitant prices to foreigners. An American entrepreneur from Silicon Valley tried to capitalize on this in 2017, proposing a Death Village Tour app with AR overlays of ghostly apparitions. He vanished during a scouting trip, his phone recovered with a final video, flickering images of spectral figures closing in. This incident spiked interest in haunted apps China, turning tragedy into digital gold for SEO experts back home. Deeper investigations reveal a pattern of ritualistic elements. Elders speak of annual sacrifices, though denied vehemently. In 1992, a mass grave was unearthed during road construction, bones bearing marks of deliberate mutilation. Archaeologists from Banjing University were called in, but their findings were classified. Leaked emails, shared on WikiLeaks and dissected by American analysts, suggest connections to ancient cults blending Buddhism and shamanism. For a USA audience raised on American Horror Story, this evokes coven rituals and demonic pacts, making Banjing a transcontinental nightmare. As night falls in Banjing, the true horror unfolds. The moon casts elongated shadows, and the wind howls like a chorus of the damned. Our American protagonist, let's call him Jake from Texas, hears footsteps outside his makeshift shelter. Heart pounding, he peers out, seeing nothing but darkness. Then, a whisper, his name, spoken in a voice that mimics his late mother's. Panic sets in, a classic symptom reported by survivors. Auditory hallucinations induced by the toxic miasma or something more sinister. Jake flees toward the temple, the epicenter of doom, where legends say the curse's heart beats. Inside, the air grows colder, walls seeming to pulse. He collapses, vision blurring, as figures emerge from the gloom. Ghosts or villagers? The line blurs in the Chinese death village. But not all tales end in death. Some, like Dr. Elena Vargas, a parapsychologist from UCLA, escape with stories that chill the bone. In 2024, she documented electromagnetic anomalies in Banjing, her equipment spiking erratically. "It's like the land remembers every scream," she told a TED Talk audience back in the States, her presentation optimized for Paranormal Activity China searches. Her team lost one member to a sudden aneurysm, but the data suggested infrasound waves from geological shifts, mimicking hauntings. This scientific angle appeals to skeptical USA viewers, balancing supernatural hype with rational explanation. Yet, the deaths continue unabated. In January 2025, a busload of tourists, including 3 Americans from Florida, detoured to Banjing on a whim. By morning, 5 were dead, bodies arranged in a circle around the temple altar. Chinese media spun it as food poisoning, but eyewitness accounts leaked to Western outlets described convulsions and foaming mouths. Social media exploded with hashtag Chinese Death Village, trending in the USA alongside calls for travel bans. Politicians in Washington debated sanctions, tying it to broader human rights concerns, while influencers milked the drama for views. To truly grip the audience, consider the psychological pull. Why do people keep coming? For Americans, it's the pioneer spirit, the same drive that sent Lewis and Clark westward. Banjing represents the ultimate frontier, not space or the ocean depths, but the abyss of the unknown. SEO strategists know this. Articles titled, "Why This Chinese Death Village is Deadlier Than Chernobyl," rack up clicks, holding readers for minutes with detailed timelines and survivor quotes. Expanding on the folklore, Banjing's myths intertwine with real historical events. During the Cultural Revolution, Red Guards desecrated the temple, unleashing, some say, the full fury of the curse. Deaths spiked, with entire families wiped out in nights of terror. American sinologists, poring over declassified CIA files, note unusual seismic activity coinciding with these periods, suggesting natural gas releases. But locals insist on spirits, Yuling, vengeful souls demanding appeasement. Rituals involve burning paper offerings at midnight, chants echoing through the valleys. An American filmmaker attempted to capture this in 2020. His footage, partially recovered, shows orbs of light dancing before his camera cuts out. The video went viral, boosting searches for Ghost Orbs Chinese Village. The village's isolation amplifies its lethality. No cell service, no roads for quick escape. Helicopters? Forbidden airspace, rumored to be military restricted. For USA preppers, Banjing is a cautionary tale. Stock up on gas masks and EMF detectors. Online stores see surges in sales after Banjing stories break, with keywords like surviving haunted places China, driving traffic. Personal tragedy fuels the narrative. May, the girl from earlier, lost her parents to the village's grasp. Now 15, she scavenges for tourists, warning them in pidgin English. Go away, death come. But some stay, enchanted by the macabre beauty. The sunsets painting the mountains blood red, the silence broken only by distant cries. Jake, our Texan, might survive if he heeds her, but the pull is strong. As he stumbles out at dawn, gasping for clean air, he vows never to return. Yet, back in the USA, he starts a blog. Escaping the Chinese Death Village. Optimized for SEO with meta tags and backlinks. The government's role adds intrigue. Rumors of experiments, biological weapons tested in remote areas, circulate on dark web forums frequented by American hackers. Is Banjing a cover for something sinister? Leaked memos suggest relocations, but residents refuse, bound by ancestral ties. For conspiracy buffs in the USA, this mirrors Roswell, with Chinese Death Village cover-up. Searches spiking. Nature contributes too. Venomous snakes, toxic plants like wolfsbane thriving in the soil. Combined with monsoons that flood paths, escape becomes impossible. An American botanist in 2018 identified rare fungi releasing hallucinogens, explaining visions. His paper, published in Nature, went viral among USA science enthusiasts, blending mycology with mystery. Cultural clashes heighten tension. Americans, with their bravado, often dismiss warnings as superstition. It's just a story, they say, until it's not. Villagers, steeped in tradition, see foreigners as harbingers of doom, their presence angering the spirits. This dynamic plays out in countless tales, each adding to the lore. As the story unfolds, twists emerge. Perhaps the deaths are murderers, orchestrated by a secret society preserving the village's isolation. Or aliens, UFO sightings reported in the 1970s. For USA audiences, this flexibility keeps engagement high, with polls and comments debating theories. Survivor support groups form online, Americans sharing nightmares post-visit. PTSD from Banjing is real, with therapists specializing in trauma from haunted travel. SEO 4. Recovering from Chinese Death Village. Pulls in those seeking solace. The future? With climate change, toxic releases may worsen, claiming more. Or tourism booms, turning horror into profit. But one thing's certain, the Chinese Death Village keeps claiming lives, its grip unyielding. To delve even deeper, let's explore specific cases. In 1967, during the height of the Cultural Revolution, a group of intellectuals sent to Banjing for re-education vanished. Their letters home, smuggled out, described descending madness, visions of imperial ghosts parading through the streets. American scholars, analyzing these in Ivy League libraries, draw parallels to mass hysteria events like the Dancing Plague of 1518. This historical lens appeals to USA history buffs, optimizing content for Cultural Revolution horrors China. Fast forward to 1985. Economic reforms bring outsiders. A mining company from Guangdong sets up shop, disturbing ancient burial sites. Workers die in droves, cave-ins, inexplicable illnesses. The operation shuts down, but artifacts unearthed, jade amulets inscribed with curses, end up in black markets, fetching high prices from American collectors. One such amulet, auctioned in New York, is blamed for a string of misfortunes fueling cursed artifacts from Chinese Death Village. Searches. 1999 marks a millennial spike. Y2K fears drive doomsayers to Banjing, seeking apocalyptic signs. A cult from California arrives, led by a charismatic preacher. They perform rituals in a temple, only to be found dead, arranged in a pentagram. Media frenzy ensues, with USA tabloids screaming, "Satan in China!" SEO Gold 4. Millennial cults haunted villages. 2003. SARS outbreak. Banjing, isolated, seems spared, but deaths rise. Locals blame bioleakage. Americans tie it to Wuhan lab theories years later. Podcasts dissect this, holding listeners for hours. 2010. Digital age amplifies. A viral video of a ghost sighting in Banjing racks up millions of views. Uploaded by an American blogger, it shows a translucent figure gliding through fog. Debunkers cry CGI, but believers flock, some never returning. Viral ghost videos China. Trends. 2016. Pokemon Go craze. Gamers hunt rare spawns in Banjing, ignoring dangers. One from Seattle falls into a ravine, phone clutched, screen showing a spectral Pokemon. Tragic irony boosts. Dangerous gaming spots world. Queries. 2021. Post-pandemic wanderlust. Americans, cooped up, seek extremes. A family from Ohio visits. The father perishes from heart failure. Their GoFundMe story goes viral, warning others. Each year adds layers, the village's body count rising like a grim tally. Villagers adapt, some profiting from tragedy, guiding tours for a fee, sharing tales over tea. But the curse lingers, selective yet relentless. Scientific expeditions offer hope. In 2023, a joint Sino-American team deploys drones, mapping anomalies. Findings: high methane levels, causing asphyxiation. But drones malfunction, crashing into unseen barriers. Tech failures in haunted China. Intrigues USA gadget geeks. Paranormal investigators follow. Ghost hunters from Paranormal Activity fame film episodes, capturing EDP's whispering. Leave. Ratings soar, SEO 4. Real ghost Chinese village. Peaking. Yet, skepticism persists. Some claim hoaxes, villagers staging deaths for attention. But bodies are real, autopsies inconclusive. For USA debunkers, like James Randi fans, this is a challenge. The human element tugs hearts. Children like may dream of escape, but family ties bind. Americans donate to charities, optimizing for help Chinese death village kids. As our story wins, Jake escapes, scarred but alive. Back home, he warns, "Don't go. The Chinese death village claims more than lives, it claims souls." But curiosity endures. Searches for visit Chinese death village persist, drawing new victims. The cycle continues, the village eternal in its deadly allure. Expanding further, consider ecological impacts. Deforestation around Banjing exposes toxic veins, rains washing poisons into water. Fish die, birds fall from skies, omens, locals say. American environmentalists campaign, linking to global warming narratives. Social media's role. Instagram influencers pose at edges, captions. Daring the death village. Some disappear mid-post, accounts frozen in time. Missing influencers China. Trends. Literature inspires. Books like The Death Village Chronicles by a pseudonymous author sell in USA, blending fact and fiction. Reviews praise gripping pace, holding readers for chapters. Films loom. Hollywood scouts locations, but crews bail after accidents. Indie flicks on Netflix capture essence, SEO 4. Horror movies based on true Chinese stories. Music 2. Bands compose ballads of Banjing, lyrics haunting. American folk singers perform at festivals, tales spreading. Art, Painters depict misty horrors, galleries and NYC showcasing. Death Village series. Collectors bid high, intrigued by macabre cuisine. Ironically, villagers' herbal teas, said to ward evil, exported. USA health stores stock them, marketing as anti-curse elixirs. Sports. Extreme adventurers race through Death Village Dash. Fatalities ensue, but thrill seekers sign waivers. Education. Universities offer courses on Banjing folklore, attracting American students studying abroad, some venturing too close. Politics. USA diplomats reference in human rights reports, pressuring China. Responses vague, tensions rise. Economy. If tourism regulated, could boom. But risks outweigh, village remaining shadow. Ultimately, Banjing endures, a testament to mystery's power. For USA audiences, it's a distant thrill, but remember, the Chinese Death Village keeps claiming lives, its reach perhaps farther than we think.